Hello and welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 28. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. Bandwidth for this episode is brought to you by Action Target. Today I have with me Daniel Lance from Calamity Arms. How's it going, Daniel?
What's up, man? How's it going? Good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Did you do any shooting this weekend?
Actually, I did. I did a little rimfire shooting and playing around with the 17 HMR. My old man, he has an Anschultz. I'm amazed the accuracy of that 17 HMR, but I've got the rimfire bug now.
Sweet. Yeah, I didn't get to do any shooting. I did some visitation with the in-laws, but I did do some reloading, so that counts. I loaded up some 300 grain pills for 44 Magnum, so I'm pretty excited. I'm doing some test loads and some load development just to see how much the Super Red Hawk can comfortably launch them for me.
Nice.
I've also got some Hornady. I think they're 200 grain. I think they're just hollow points and work up kind of like a 44 special type load and then a full bore load, and just test them. If they work, load them all up and shoot them all. So
Sounds fun.
yeah, well, let's get right into it. Still doing that Raid Tech giveaway, going on till the 27th of May. So I'm giving away an AR-15, 1911, Beretta 92 FS, and MNP 9 models of their LED advisor and digital counters. I did a review on the 1911 digital counter last week. You can go to the Firearms Insider website and check that out. They're pretty cool pieces of gear, give you a little bit more instant feedback to your ammo supply, and might enhance your training regiment. So how it works is you get one entry per iTunes review. You have to email me your name, your username, and your address and your preferred choice of the Raytech model that you would like. And my email is cross@firearmsradio.tv. So leave me a review, send me an email, and you'll be entered to win one of these of your preference. The deadline for entries is once again May 27th, and that episode will release on May 30th, and so starting on June 3rd is when I record the following episode. I'll announce some winners and maybe do a winner each week or a winner every couple weeks, so that way people can know that they've won and encourage others to listen to the Firearms Radio and Firearms Insider podcast to win some of this free stuff.
I
Let's
saw a
get right
bunch of
in.
I
Go
saw a
ahead.
bunch of entries from R Cross on that. Are you sure you're not trying to win it yourself?
Oh, I've had my fun with a couple of them, so there's no need for me to try and bogart those. These are especially for the fans out there who can really utilize them.
Awesome.
So into the new product spotlight, we've got the NRA show that went on last weekend, and lots of new products that were debuted. So these next couple episodes are going to be products pretty much brought new into the market from that show. Right off the bat, I have probably the most controversial new product that a lot of people are kind of scratching their heads about, and some people are actually excited just to get it because why the heck not? And that's the Heiser AR pocket pistol. And if you're not familiar with Heiser, they make the pocket shotgun. Basically a very slim pocket size that can shoot the 410 shotgun round. They do a couple double barrel, kind of double tap type guns with 45 ACP. Well, the Pocket AR, from its name, shoots a .223 Remington. just a single shot. What do you think? I mean, there's a lot of speculation on how much of the velocity you're really going to get, because that cartridge almost takes up the full length of the barrel there.
Yeah, it really kind of makes me chuckle, man. I mean, I see this, and then I read the review that we had on the link in the show notes, and they kind of say that they say if you would like to soft or gently throw a 22 caliber bullet and a large fire trail behind it, so they understand that they're not going to have a whole lot of good velocity behind that round, even though it is a rifle round. But that's one of the first rifle caliber pistol derringer type things that I've ever seen in my life. So it's very unique. I wouldn't buy one, but hey, if somebody handed me one, I definitely want to shoot it. It's always fun to try it out, but it does definitely look a lot like a double tap gun. And I tried to find it on YouTube, and it's so new that I couldn't find anything from the pocket AR. It was all the pocket shotgun stuff. But there's a few videos out there with Mr. Heiser demonstrating the pocket shotgun, and they say that it's practically the exact same thing, just different caliber, but kind of goofy.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see some actual chronograph tests. Some people say that it might just still be in the 22 Magnum territory out of that 3-inch barrel, but it's actually less than that really, because the cartridge has to fit in that whole chamber. So I don't even know what the actual length of the barrel is on this one. It looks like it would be closer to an inch or less. Um, yeah, lots of fire. I wouldn't want to shoot any hand loads in it for sure. Just because if you did something wrong, man, there's not a whole lot of material there to protect your hand, your skin. It's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
So if you want to check that out, you got to go to Heiser's website, and they'll probably be posting it on their new products soon. The next product is the International Arms Century MDL 38-3. And what that is a new snub-nosed revolver that's a 3-shot cylinder for 38 special, and it actually shoots from the bottom barrel, or it shoots from the bottom chamber a lot like the Rhino, the Chiappa Rhino, and the Mateba. So I thought that trend would start to branch off a little bit with other companies and trying, well, let's see if we can make a revolver that has that lower bore axis. Um, I wish it was at a different caliber. Maybe this is just to test the market, see how many people are interested. 38 special is kind of anemic in some people's standards as far as a self-defense load, and having only 3 rounds of it probably, would a lot of people turn their nose up at this, saying that they'd rather have one of those, off the top of my head, the like the Bulldog. It's like a 44 mag and a snub nose, or any of the Charter Arms small snub nose pistols. What do you think?
I kind of see what they're trying to do. It looks like, from what I read, I couldn't see a picture of the right side of the gun, but I take it the left side of the cylinder is flat and the right side is actual, like a half a cylinder, pretty much like a normal revolver cylinder. And if
Yeah.
that's the case, it looks like it's designed for more of like a large pocket pistol, to where it would lay flat against your leg or lay flat against your right hip on in the waistband holster. So I see the concept, but really, for an extra half of an inch or so of steel, you could have 5 or 6 rounds in a gun like that. So I really don't. I don't know. Century, like I was talking to Ryan off air before the show, and Century Arms is really doing a lot of new things. We've been dealers for them for the last couple years, and I got on their website tonight for the first time in a long time, and they've just done a complete overhaul of their website and their products. They just have so many new products they're offering. So I think this is just one of those things, like you say, they're wanting to test the market, wanting to see if they can wiggle into that Because a lot of people want the Chiappa or Chiappa Rhino, but nobody wants to pay the price, and so they're thinking, hey, maybe we can come in on the low end of that and get a few buyers. But it's another one of those. It's very unique, and it may come out to be a very cool deal. But I'm the type of guy that if I'm going to carry something, I want to have several follow-up rounds because you never know what kind of situation you may face.
Yeah. Um, one thing about these revolvers that shoot from the bottom chamber, you really got to watch where your hand grip is, because if you have your supporting hand in front of you and you've got your thumb too far front and in the way of that chamber on the bottom half of it, you're gonna get hit with some of that blast. And while 38 special might not have enough to just tickle your thumb a little bit, if you're gonna shoot like the Chiappa Rhino in a larger caliber, 40 or 357 Magnum or something like that, then you're definitely gonna damage your thumb a little bit. So that's something to always be aware of. Everyone knows not to, put your hand on the side of the cylinder and pull the trigger, but because of the different position of the barrel, some people might forget, and they gotta adjust their grip accordingly. I watched Jerry Michalik shoot the Rhino, and he forgot, and he had his thumb kind of out there. So luckily he was like, "Oh, I was wearing gloves, and I think it was a lower caliber," but he made a little comment about that as well.
Even the pros make mistakes sometimes.
That's right. So cool. Check that out. Go to Century International's website. The next product is
actually not on there, Ryan. I looked. I couldn't find
oh
it anywhere. The only
well,
place I could
yeah.
find it was our show notes link to the review from The Truth About Guns, I believe it was.
Yeah, well, being that it was just released at SHOT Show, I imagine that it'll be added to their product probably within the next week or two,
I would hope
added
so.
to their website. So the next product is actually from Big Green, Remington, and it's a muzzle loader built on the Remington 700 platform. It's called the Ultimate Muzzle Loader, and Remington used to make muzzle loaders built on the 700 platform. They discontinued them, so they're kind of a little bit rare. I got to shoot a buddy's and take a bull with it last year, and they're really nice, especially if you're familiar with shooting 700s. So the safety's in the same spot, and the bolt, fairly feels the same. So the new thing about this Model 700 Ultimate muzzleloader is the ignition system. Instead of having a percussion cap that you would place on the nipple, it actually uses a Magnum rifle primer that goes into a cartridge case. So imagine like a rifle case that's been cut in half. And so you would actually, keep these casings in your pocket, or actually in the gun itself. The hinged floor plate opens up, and it looks like you can shove these cases into 3 little holes, maybe inside some foam. I can't tell what that material is. But basically, you can just place one of these cases right over the nipple, and it's kind of got a tapered shape to where it's easy to get it in there, and that's your ignition system. Whether or not it's still going to be legal in my state, where you can't use like a shotgun 209 primer, I'm not sure if this will still qualify as a primitive ignition system, but it's still cool, and they make good muzzle loaders. So the reason for switching to a primed brass cartridge is because it's a lot easier to handle than any shot shell primers or like number 10 percussion caps, just because they're so small. Usually, if you prefer, like I've used almost like a loading clip that you actually stick these little primers into. It's almost like a little primer feed, and so that way when you're ready to shoot, you can actually just kind of push your thumb up on a lever, which kind of prepares the next percussion cap on the little clip, and then you can slide that over the nipple on the breech and get that on there, right? So I'd like to see if there's a stripper clip out there that would actually fit these brass casings, so you could reload your muzzle loader with a stripper clip. That would be pretty interesting.
They looked pretty large. I'm not sure what size casing they are, but I put a link to a YouTube video on our show notes, and it's a great description and demo from Remington. It's kind of just like holding a Remington 700 rifle in your hand, but you just load it differently.
Yeah.
And so they were claiming greater increased muzzle velocity and distance because you can put up to 200 grains of Pyrodex in there to extend your range a little bit. I'm not a black powder hunter, so I don't know a whole lot about it, but if you watch that YouTube video, they'll describe everything, and it really looks like a neat innovation. One thing I see, the casings might be hard to come by, but I would assume once you get a hold of a few, they are probably not going to be too hard to reload. So you can probably just use your standard, you know, little reload priming tool, and I'm sure that one of those mini adapters for the Lee press will fit that casing. So
Well, and the cost of uh, large rifle magnum primers is different than buying these muzzleloader caps separately. So
mhm.
that's always good too. And plus, the rifles, there's actually two offerings. There's the synthetic and the laminate, and the synthetic comes with a Bell and Carlson Medalist M40 stock, which is a really nice stock. That's what I have on my Remington 700 and 308 right now. That's a really nice stock. It does come with that Exmark Pro trigger, so 2.5 to 5 pounds adjustable. That is the trigger that they just recalled, though. So hopefully they sorted out the issue of whatever that extra bonding agent or whatever that they had to do a recall and clean everybody's triggers out.
it,
So
it
it
does come with a pretty hefty price tag, though. Wasn't it about 1,200 plus?
yeah, we're looking at about 12.95. I mean, it does ship in a hard case. Comes with 24 primed cases and 24 projectiles. So if you've got powder, it's ready to shoot right out of the box. And the barrel is 26 inches stainless steel and it's fluted. Now the other model comes with the laminate stock. Both stocks have the primer storage case, which is basically the hinged floor plate comes out, and you can shove 3 primed cases in there. Same trigger, still comes with all that, and the same price. So same price whether you want the Medalist stock or the laminate stock. I would go with the Medalist, but if you've got enough tactical rifles in your safe, maybe you want something more traditional. And laminate always looks beautiful, especially with stainless steel. So can't go wrong either way. It is really high for a muzzleloader. Most people are drawn to muzzleloading for the cost savings. I mean, there's all the accessories and all that, but I mean, you shouldn't be paying more off the shelf for just any of the standard ones that are out there, more than $400 or $500. So asking, almost $1,300 for a muzzleloader is extremely high, I think. I don't know why they chose to do that. I think that they're going to find their sales aren't going to be as well or be as good until they drop that price down below 1,000 for sure.
Right. I think I'm learning this too the longer I'm in the business, that there's a special niche, there's a special area for each price range. So, I mean, if you have the 900 and below, there's always those people. And then there's the AR companies that are always 2,000 plus, and they still seem to be selling rifles. And I think this is one of those things to where you're going to have some higher end buyers that just want it for the sport or the novelty of it, and they'll end up paying the price for it.
Yeah.
I'm sure Remington has probably done that research, and they have figured out that, we're not going to sell a million of these the first day, but, maybe they're pacing their production too based on those figures.
Yeah, and I think someone that's already got a couple of muzzleloaders and is looking to invest in that hobby, this is certainly not a first-time muzzleloader purchaser's gun. But I think that it definitely would offer a lot of people, especially if you're into. I mean, 200 grains is actually a fair amount of black powder. Most people do 100 to 150. Um, and then, the reliability of this new patented breech plug technology that they're patenting on this, boasting that it should get more center fire like performance and accuracy out of the muzzle loader. So this would be for the guy that is just always chasing the bullseye with his smoke pole, pretty much. Another big advantage to if you're not familiar, muzzle loaders are considered primitive firearms, so they don't require all the typical Form 4s or what's that? I forget the nomenclature of that form, but it's not regulated like any other firearm. In fact, most areas don't even classify it as a firearm, so you could go to the shop, pick one up without having a waiting period. So that's kind of cool. The next product that I want to get into is actually a sponsored product. From on now, I'm going to be featuring a specific product from our sponsor, Action Target, and giving you a link to the show notes and where you could pick that up. And these aren't just, plugs. These are items that I really would recommend, or I really wish I could get, and are either or quite possibly considering picking these up in the near future. So right off the bat, I want to consider all you guys out there that don't have a big budget, but they love shooting. And so this is the Rimfire Dueling Tree. And I think if you always wanted a dueling tree, and you're looking for, something that's not going to break the bank, this is your best bet right here. So it's specifically for rimfire cartridges only. So 22 long rifle, and in that family, it's only $200. Um, and it's just the 6 paddles. They're really easy to set up, and the weight's only 35 pounds. So that's something that a lot of people don't really consider on full steel dueling trees, is that they're close to 200 pounds, yeah, or even more. So this is something that'd be easy to fold up or put it in the back of your truck or the back of your car, SUV, if you have limited vehicle space. The steel is 1/4 inch AR-500. So you just 10 plus yards with a 22 long rifle, and you can be dueling your friends all day. And I really think you can't beat that experience.
It's a lot of fun.
The only issue, of course, and it's if you have the 22 long rifle to spare. But if you do, I would consider no other target more worthy of you using that precious ammunition on than this rimfire dueling tree. So that they do have a built-in forward lean for the center stand, which lets the rounds kind of bounce and splash in a downward angle, which is really important. You don't want that coming back at you or anyone else you're shooting with. So every time you shoot a paddle, there's 6 paddles. You shoot one and it swings over to the other side of the tree. It's pretty simple. You'll see these on shooting competitions. Top Shots had these on a couple times. They're a really great way for 2 people to really go head to head and see who can shoot. A lot of times, if you're under pressure, you're missing, you're having to reload. So it's not just who can shoot the fastest, it's who can shoot efficiently, accurately, and reload quickly. And obviously, whoever gets all of their paddles on the opposite side of the tree wins. That's the point of the dueling tree.
Yep.
It's also really good for just individual practice as well. You can do patterns, knocking all of them on one side, all of them on the other, work your way up and down the tree. You can alternate, shoot the left, shoot the right. Why would you want to shoot paper if you had one of these babies?
Oh yeah, and excuse me, it's great for, target acquisition drills and stuff with your little 22 pistol or rifle or whatever you want to use. I do need to add, though, I looked in the facts section here, and it says the 17 HMR is not suitable. This is a 22 long rifle or 22 short target only. So make sure you're not out there shooting with the 17 HMR, because you'll have some little dents in it. So, but still, you can have tons of fun, as I found this weekend, with a 22 long rifle if you can find the ammunition. And we're all crossing our fingers that that problem's going to be over sometime in the near future.
Yep. So Action Targets builds really good steel. I mean, like world-renowned steel, and their rimfire line is actually really affordable, because using the milder steel, that can still stand up to 22 long rifle. So I mean, if I had enough 22 ammunition, I actually don't have that many 22 long rifle handguns. You could use this for rifle drills as well, for your Ruger 1022 with the scope. Just set it out a little bit farther, and you've got a whole new game to play with another shooter with another 22 scoped. All of a sudden, instead of doing a kind of a pistol range, you can turn it into a kind of like a small caliber sniper game if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you check that out. I put the link in the show notes. You can also go to store.actiontarget.com and search for the rimfire dueling tree. So let's get right into the main panel reviews, and I'm going to let Daniel take the wheel.
All right. Well, if I get kicked off here, I apologize. I'll be back, I promise, because I know you all want to see this. I have here my Safe Queen, but not only a Safe Queen, I use it all the time. It's my Microtech Small Arms Research STG 556. Here, I'll hold it back so you can see it. You got a good view there?
Yep.
All right. So I bought this thing several years, I say about 2 or 3 years ago, and I absolutely love it. And there's a lot of haters out there. You can Google search Microtech Small Arms Research, and in a heartbeat you'll find all sorts of negative stuff, but there's also some positive stuff out there. I absolutely love this rifle. It's an awesome close quarters battle rifle, and I'm a Marine. I was a Fallujah guy, so I am all about close quarters battle weapons. And this one comes in at 26.5 inches overall length. But the biggest perk to this weapon is the quick detach barrel. It's got a little button here on the left hand side right by the forward grip that you just push in with your thumb. You turn the barrel a quarter of a turn to the left, and it slides right out. So here's my fluted, extremely well machined. You can see the flutes in there. I was really impressed with that, the quality of this barrel. But it's a 1 in 8 twist, 5.56, 16-inch barrel, or 16.5, the website says. And then the upper receiver, or the regular receiver of the rifle here. But the perk to this, to doing this, is if you're in a situation to where you would like to put it into a backpack, say you're going to the range and you live in an apartment and you don't want all your neighbors seeing you carrying a gun, you could take the barrel off of this weapon and put it into a backpack or a 511 bag or something like that, and it's easily concealed, and then you can get to the range, do your shooting, and you don't have to worry about any neighbors freaking out on you. Or if you're some sort of military or police and you need to be able to have a concealed weapon, then you're all set. So let me see here. I'm going to go over a few of the things on this. This one does not take regular AR mags. This one takes proprietary STG magazines. You can also get the Steyr AUG mags. Here's a Microtech 42 round amber 5.56 magazine. And you can get the Steyr AUG magazines. There's just some altering you have to do back here, I believe. You have to do a little filing or something, and then Steyr mags will work also. Microtech does sell a E4, is what it's called, the model, and it's a NATO version. It takes regular AR-15 magazines, and it's a 5.56. Same rifle as this, though, practically. It has a few other added features than my STG does. Mine is a Gen 4 STG. There's several different out there. So this one does not have what some of the older versions had, forward assist on the left-hand side. It does have a AR style bolt release on it, and it's also last round bolt hold open. Push through safety, cross, what would you call it, cross bolt safety, just right up here where your trigger finger goes. Just click it right through, and if you want to turn it back on safety, it's right there by your thumb. So it's nice there. The adjustable gas system on it here. It is a gas-operated rotating bolt, similar to the AR bolt, but it's not exact. It's not the exact same thing, but short piston drive. So I'm not gonna take it all apart and show you all the parts, but it's got a little piston here inside the gas adjustment that you can also turn this for dirty ammunition or suppressed firing. Microtech does offer integral suppressed barrels and things like that. So let's see, here we have the original tulip style muzzle device. Sorry, my phone keeps exploding here.
Is that a flash hider?
Yeah, flash hider. And then quick detach sling swivels here with you just push a center button and they come right off. They got little ball bearings in them, and then you can also snap them back on. So if you have a permanently attached sling and you want to be able to take it off quickly, you can. Let's see here. Charging handle is on the left-hand side of the weapon, and it has a locking position to where you can lock it to the rear. And so all you do is hit it, and it'll send it home. So theoretically, you know, sometimes when I do carry mine in a backpack, I have my magazine in it with the bolt locked to the rear, weapons on safe, and the barrel's not inserted. And so all I have to do to be gun up and ready to go is slide the barrel in, turn a quarter turn, it's locked in place, send it home, and it's ready to rock. So, yeah, I think I've covered, it's got this back butt plate here, a rubber butt plate. It's got a little recess there you push with your finger, and the side sling stud pulls out the pin, and then your rubber butt plate comes right off, and you have the trigger pack, just like the other bullpups you see out there, the Tavor and the Steyr AUG. It's really kind of a Steyr AUG clone, but it also has storage area back there. You can see in the video there, I put some foam in there, and I can store my batteries for my EOTech and my Surefire that I have mounted to the side of it right in there. So disassembly and assembly is really a breeze on this thing. And as far as the rest of the review, the reliability of the weapon, I'm very pleased with this weapon now. Keyword now. When I first bought it, I bought it on a gun broker and got a deal on it. I got the EOTech, I got the rifle, supposed to be unfired. When I received it, it appeared to be unfired. There wasn't any wear anywhere, and it was just an older gentleman that was ready to move on to his next safe queen. I shot it a few times and then noticed there was a crack in the receiver. The receiver is a cast material. It's a high quality cast, but you know, it's still cast. It's aluminum, and so I was just sick, you know, because I dropped quite a bit of money on this thing. So I called Microtech, and I got a hold of a nice older gentleman named Paul there in their shop, and he was going to make it right. And this was after Microtech had been through a whole lot of drama, and if you Google search it, you'll be able to see, and I have in my review that'll be posted up on the Firearms Insider website, I have links to all this stuff, the lovers and the haters and all that stuff, the YouTube videos. But anyway, my experience I sent the rifle in. Paul made it right. They had to hunt down a brand new receiver. They got the new receiver. They put my serial number on it and did everything they had to do. And then they completely updated the gun. And I told them, fire it as much as you need to. You know, just shoot it and make sure it works right. And so they did. And they sent it back, and it has been perfect ever since. I have not had any issues other than I had some reloading issues where I reloaded some cases too long. I got lazy and didn't trim them, but anyway, the gun's fine. No major damage or anything like that. It just wouldn't properly seat the bullet until I figured out that I was cutting corners and reloading, which you don't want to do. So anyway, that was a tangent. Let's see here. The has a top rail, 1913 top rail for mounting EOTechs and optics or flip up sights. Only problem is it's got kind of a short sight radius, so they make some longer aftermarket top rails that you can put on there if that's your desire. I just run it with a EOTech on. I do not have backup sights, and you're probably saying, hey, I thought you were supposed to be a Marine. I thought you guys always had the sights, but it's just one of those things. There's not a whole lot of real estate left once you put an EOTech on there. Maybe if I buy a smaller one someday. High quality polymer construction, very impressive fluted barrel. Let's see here. 42 round mags. You can also get 30 round, 20 and 10 round mags for this. And if you really want to go all out, you can buy the NATO stock for this rifle, and with a slight modification, you can use AR mags. Super awesome center of gravity on that weapon. When it's
Still there, Daniel?
all
It seems like he popped out real quick. So there he is.
I'm back. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay.
No problem.
I've gone over tons of pros, so now it's time to talk about the cons. It's like any bullpup rifle. It has a hard, sloppy trigger, and there are some products out there called like the new trigger, things that you can do to adjust and make it a little better, but all bullpups have that problem. The short sight radius. It has a knuckle buster charging handle, and it only takes once or twice to figure it out. You know, like I said, if you have that EOTech mounted on there, it's got that square edge on the bottom, and with that charging handle here, I'll just hold it up here. With the charging handle where it is on the left side, and your optic being right here, you grab it with your hand, you know, palms up, and you pull back, and it's not too bad. But if you're a rookie and you grab it with your palm down, you are definitely going to scrape some skin off. It won't take you very long to break that habit. It ejects expended brass. The weapon system was designed to be quickly and easily changed to a left or right-handed weapon. Everything is ambidextrous on it other than, when you get it from the factory, if a right-handed configuration, you have an ejection port on the right-hand side, and so it throws your brass almost directly straight back. And so when you're holding it in a transitional period, say you're shooting left-handed around a barricade or just practicing, just training, that brass will hit you right in the lip, right in the teeth every time. Microtech has come out with a solution to that problem. They've made brass deflectors in all their new E4 models, which are NATO versions, which hold AR mags. They all come standard with the deflector. Mine, the STG, is not continued. It's discontinued. They're no longer making this version, but you can still find them out there on Gunbroker. So that's why I felt I should go ahead and do a review, because I know there's always people looking for used guns out there. And if you want to hear about my complete experience with Microtech, which there was some goods dealing with Paul, And there was also some kind of bad, questionable things. And there's a whole lot of stuff out there with Microtech's management and their communication skills. And I'm not one to spread rumors. I'm just going to tell you what I have experienced. So if you go on over to the review website, you'll be able to see my review and read it in full length and see, my satisfaction with the product is great. I'm super happy with the product. They made it right for me. As a dealer, I have some issues with Microtech as far as I've tried to become a dealer many times and just can't seem to get good contact, and so that's just another story. You know, see here, price range. Okay, quite a wide variety of price range. You can find them anywhere from $1,200 used to $2,300 because there are special editions. The Gerbjäger, it's a German edition, special German edition, comes with the box and all the mags and everything. The E4, the new E4 models, they all run about $2,000, $1,900 to $2,000. So if you're going to buy a brand new one, that's about what you're going to pay. It's very similar to the AUG, but there's a lot of people that love them and there's a lot of people that hate them. My ratings, I give the rifle a 7.5 rating because it's just, I love it. It's not an AR trigger. The trigger is the only downside that that's my biggest problem. But as far as the versatility, being able to use this weapon in close quarters environments, and high capacity for my magazine, 42 rounds. So I give it a 7.5. I give Paul from Microtech, the shop, which he's actually in retirement now, but I give him a 10 because that guy was just top notch. He was old school, gonna make it right for you, and he wasn't the boss, but he kind of was telling the bosses, hey, we got to make this right. So I give that guy kudos. And then I give company management a 3.0 rating, and you will see why if you go ahead and read my review.
Right on. We don't give any products at the solid 10 rating without thorough kind of proofing from all the staff here at Firearms Radio Network. But with your personal experience giving a management kudos like that, I think that's okay. Because the customer satisfaction and just taking care of the little guy is so important out there for companies to do. That's what gets you the reputation. Word of mouth spreads like wildfire, and it goes two ways, man. If you're a real problem for a specific customer and you're not going to make it right for them, or any kind of compromise, man, that's going to tank. And that's going to spread out, and people are going to avoid your product because they don't want to deal with your bad customer service. But, then again, people buy HKs, so...
Well, yeah. And, Microtech's working through that, man. They're still working through it. You can go to the website. It's msarinc.com. And they have a couple YouTube videos and things that they talk about, we're going to make it right. We understand that we've had, they're calling their own shortcomings. They know that they had some shortcomings when they first started up in this. They had some quality control issues in the beginning, and they're trying to make it right. And they've really worked hard at making it right, but they're still learning. That's all I can say.
Right on. Thanks for doing that review, Daniel.
Yep.
So next up, I'm going to talk about the Glock 42. I've gotten a chance to take her to the range and see how she does, and I'm not all that impressed. And I know it's quite possibly the most anticipated firearm of the 2014 SHOT Show reveal, alongside with the Remington 51, which is no stranger to the issues it's having now. So this Glock 42, it's if you're not already familiar with them, it's Glock's first single. Well, it's not their first single stack, but commercially U.S. available single stack in 380 auto. It holds 6 rounds. It's much thinner than any of the existing Glocks that are out there. It has a lot of similarities to what's already out there, but it's got some minute differences that make it kind of a really nice pocket gun. Um, and it's also got some fatal flaws that prevent it from being a solid option. And, it's one of those things where if you're really interested in one, just wait and be patient because they're still trying to work through some stuff, and not all of the reviews that are out there are positive. It's maybe like 60-40 right now as far as the higher percentile people having issues, maybe a little more, a little less. So I'll tell you all about that. So I got this Glock 42 from one of my buddies that works at a local gun shop called High Mountain Hunting Supply. So we want to give a shout out to Jeff. He got this 42, and right away he knew I did this podcast, and I didn't even have to ask or anything. He's like, hey, you should review this gun for the show. The people need to know about it, and he loves it to death. And he's put hundreds and hundreds, and he's probably up into the thousands of rounds of it through it by now. So unfortunately, when it came time for him to let me borrow it for the review, he only had a couple magazines worth of ammunition left. So I thought, oh, no big deal. I appreciate it. I'll go buy my own ammo anyway. That works out. Well, I went to every single source that sells ammunition in my city, which is, about like 12 stores, and everybody was sold out of 380 auto except for one store that had self-defense ammunition, and it was $1 a bullet, and I didn't want to really get that. I probably should have, but with all the ammo I've been buying and reviews and items and stuff, I thought, oh, okay, 12 rounds will be enough to thoroughly test this out. Well, of those 12 rounds, this thing only reliably fed and fired maybe 4 of those rounds. It wasn't very good at all. Took it to the range, loaded her up, and shot it, and there was some stovepipes and some double feeds pretty much right off the bat. I went really slow. I made sure that, okay, clear it, make sure what did I do wrong. Did I seat the magazine right? Check. There was no grit. It was clean. It still had a little bit of factory lube on it, from what I remember. So I would pretty much try again, and it'd shoot once, and then the next round would double feed. So I'd have to drop the magazine, clear it, get all that sorted out, and then I'd have another stovepipe. So you can't. I can't imagine how a person could limp wrist a 380 auto. I definitely was not doing that. I also let my girlfriend, she's got a Glock 26, I let her shoot it, and she still had the same problems. So shot the rest of the ammo what we could. From the shots that I was able to make, this particular 42 had the stiffest trigger I've ever felt on a semi-automatic handgun. I don't know why it was. Glock's website says it's about a 5.5-pound trigger, all like their standard ones, but this one was extremely stubborn, almost like there was an extra hanging point that required 8 to 10 pounds of finger pressure to get past. It was insane. So I noticed that it was actually causing most of my initial shots to just throw right over the top of the target, just because of squeezing extra hard and it breaking with the the sights pointed a little bit more upward. So but apparently from Jeff's experience, the owner, he's shot this plenty of times, not any issues, and he's had really good accuracy out of it. So needless to say, I brought it back. I told him what happened. He got really paranoid. We went right to the snail trap and inside the shop and unloaded a whole magazine, just rapid fire, just pop, 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 no feeding issues whatsoever. I feel bad because my bad experience caused him to go through a lot more ammunition to make sure that his baby was okay. So it was kind of funny. And of course I come back to the shop and now they make fun of me for us because he's like, hey, I got a 12-year-old girl to shoot that 42 and she didn't have any issues, so what's up with you? So it's kind of funny.
Wow.
So
God.
that's my experience with it. Now I'll get into the likes because there's actually some things about this pistol that Glock's kind of subtly redesigned that do make it a better Glock. Which I mean, I know Glock perfection. How can you make a better Glock? Well, hold your breath. Here it comes. The trigger, the face of the trigger, those little serrations have been taken out, so it's smooth. I didn't like those to begin with, so that's an improvement. The Glock recessed kind of place for your thumb. I call it the thumb well. That was taken out. So instead, there's kind of a just ridges built underneath the slide stop and then right above where your thumb would be. So the frame's still flat, and you've just got just enough ledges for your thumbs to rest on. But there's no longer that swell there. So it's kind of taken on a little bit more contemporary design there. The it looks like someone put a dry clean only Glock 19 in through the dryer in the washing machine and just shrunk it down. It's the right size, and it's I compared to the 26, which I took quite a few side by side photographs of the 42 next to the 26 that you can look at in the review on the firearms.tv or firearmsinsider.tv website. So you can kind of see the differences in thicknesses and heights there. Um, the width of the pistol of the Glock 42 is less than an inch. It's 0.94 inches, so 24 millimeters. The sights, the between the sights, it's 4.92 inches, so almost 5 inches of sight radius. The barrel length is 3.3 and a quarter, 3.25. Unloaded, it weighs 13.76 ounces, and loaded, it's 14.36 ounces. The length of twist on the barrel is 9.84. So I guess that's one rotation of the bullet per 9.84 inches. And then the standard capacity is 6. And there has been manufacturers that are coming out with a pinky ledge to add to the magazine base, just in case you've got a larger hand and your pinky's kind of hanging out there free. You'll be able to get that ledge to help you, or that extension to help you get a full grip on the pistol. So overall length is just shy of 6 inches. It's 5.94 inches length, and it's 4.13 inches tall. So it's a pretty small size 380, but there's a lot out there just like it. But it is a Glock, so it's got the trigger safety that Glock's been known for, and all of the internal safeties. This is designed to be a pocket carry, a backup carry, either in an ankle holster or a secondary holster, or perhaps in a bag, whether it's a satchel or a purse. I imagine that some people are going to want to carry this inside the waistband because of its slimmer profile, which hats off to them, and that's going to work out great for them if their Glock 42 is one of the ones that function well, which the reviews are very mixed. So some of the people, some of the defending the Glock 42 on the internet without ever trying it, they're saying that you're limp wristing, or your thumbs are resting on the slide, which is causing friction and interfering with the recoil process, which prevents it from loading completely. So a lot of other people are just suspecting it's the dual recoil springs. And if you're right out, the Gen 4 owner that bought one right as they released, if I say dual recoil springs, you're going to get a shiver in the back of your neck, because that was the issue that they had with the Gen 4s right off the bat. And how did they fix them? They swapped to the Gen 3 recoil springs. So, people have been contacting Glock and asking, what's the deal? And they haven't been getting very good results as far as feedback, saying that it's all reliable, all well and good. Some people are just finding that it's finicky on ammo. Being that it's meant for concealed carry, it should be able to cycle all defensive loads, but a lot of people are having trouble feeding hollow points, which is kind of a big problem if it can't load defensive ammunition. Don't if you're not going to shoot somebody with 90 grain ball ammo. So it's slightly wider than the Keltec P3AT or the Ruger LCP, so it's certainly not the smallest, small single stack 380 on the market. But it's a Glock, so people are going to be interested in it no matter what, just because it carries the name. And as far as the design and the overall grip, it feels really great. It melts right into your hand, at least into my hand. It felt really good. The Glock 26 kind of has a much more steeper swell in the back, and sometimes that can cause a little bit more, I don't know, not bruising, but just a little bit sore in the palm of your hand because that's where the recoil is ending up. This has a more of an elongated grip. That's a little bit more of a gentle contour, which basically lets you have a little bit better grip. It doesn't have the finger grooves in the front like the Gen 3s do. So a lot of people don't like that anyway. Other aesthetic changes, not much. It's still a Glock. The sights are the same plastic sights they throw on all their Glocks. I think that being that they took some redesign changes with this option to bring it to the market, they missed an opportunity to put some factory night sights on it. That would have been a great option because I don't know anybody who would say, these 3-dot sights are okay, but you know what I'd really like? Good old-fashioned Glock field goalpost sights. The white U. I don't know a lot of people that prefer that sight. They just adapt to it and make do with it. They tolerate it pretty much. I think if they would have thrown night sights on here from the factory, it'd have been a much better sell. So the MSRP on the 42 is $480. You can probably find it for about $430, $425. Bud's Gun Shop had it for a little bit. It's still brand new. The hype is still high. So finding it, you're gonna have to special order it or just be lucky, come into the gun shop on a very good day. So it's made in the USA. Obviously, it's if anything, I'd call it a collector piece because it's Glock's been so stubborn with their pistols never really changing. This being like the first to really break the mold in a long time, that's something to say for it too. The Gen 4 grip texture that it has also been slightly changed. They don't really say anything about it, but those braille bumps are actually not as raised as they are on, say, like a Gen 4 Glock 17. So a lot of people feel that those grips were actually a little bit too aggressive, so it has been reduced a little bit, which is always good. So that dual recoil spring might be suspect in some of the feeding issues people are having, but it's the same tenor for finish, same old good old Glock black. So I'll read you a couple reviews here that I found on the Gunwriter. First one says, I bought a G42 and had nothing but problems when firing Federal FMJ 95 grain, 980 feet per second. The slide locks back to the rear on the second round as if the mag is empty. When firing jacketed hollow point, the extractor fails to remove the spent casing from the chamber. I sent it back to Glock, and they very quickly sent it back with a note that it was within factory specs. I took it to the range and experienced the same issues. I just sent it back for the second time, and we'll see if they actually corrected the problem. Another review is this one was a little bit harsher. There's some opinions here, but for listeners, this is important for you to take into account. He said that this gun is a failure. A 380 in this small of a package is designed strictly for defense. A defensive gun that will not shoot defensive ammo is a failure in my book. That is an inarguable fact. To the guys having problems with the gun, it is not you, it's the gun. I too have had the same problems. BS on your limp wristing. You're a newbie, it's the aftermarket magazine, which there aren't any right now. the likes of Jerry Miculek, Hickok 45, et al. Are having the same issues that you are having. Glock needs to cut these losses and recall them and fix the problem. I have 6 other Glocks. The 42 was my 7th. It went back to Glock for repair twice. They are sending me a different model entirely, a 26 to be exact. Glock failed on this one, I'm sorry to say. Good luck to you guys having problems. Again, gents, it's not you. And this third review is actually on the opposite end of the spectrum. He says, this great little gun, the recoil is non-existent, kicks way less than my previous 380, which was a Bursa Thunder, or actually just a regular Bursa. I'm not small enough to call it a micro, but tiny anyways, and easy to conceal, not to mention that it's super lightweight. Took it to the range after a good cleaning, and it proved to be very accurate, reliable. Reliability is outstanding as well. I shot 200 rounds of Agia hollow points that had no malfunctions whatsoever, and many groups consisted of all shots touching at 7 yards. So that was actually a budsgunshop.com review. So there's people saying that it shoots great, good accuracy, and feeds hollow points, so other people are having issues. So it's kind of mixed out there, guys.
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. So I'm gonna rate this a 7.0 because of the slight design modifications that Glock's made. I see those, I acknowledge them, and I appreciate them. But you still have all the issues out there that are kind of mixed. So if you just can't wait and you have to get one right now, good luck. Let us know how it goes. Maybe you'll get one that does go bang, as reliable as all Glocks are supposed to be. And if it doesn't, hopefully it's an easy fix to rectify, but it's not 100% out there. And me personally, I work hard for my money. I'd never really blow my money on a gun that's not known to work 100%, let alone 90% of the time. So right now it's still about half, 60-40. So I really wanted to let you guys know that. Remington's 51's not doing all that great either as far as the other reviews go, so it's kind of disappointing that the two most hyped up guns of the year both seem to be kind of busts right out the gate as far as having some initial problems. I know that they're not the first, gun to hit the market, and stumble a little bit, but it's a little bit disappointing because Glocks, they're known for reliability. So that's my take on that. If you manage to get a Glock 42 and yours shoots flawlessly, I want to know about it. Email me, cross@firearmsinsider.tv. I'm sorry, cross@firearmsradio.tv. Or leave a comment right on to this podcast on the firearmsinsider.tv website. Love to hear about it. Love to hear how yours performs, because I want to be positive about it. What do you think, Daniel? Have you gotten to try the 42?
No. No, I'm not. I have a Glock 23 or a Colt Defender, and those are my two go-to guns to carry. I was looking at some of your pictures you took. You took some really nice pictures that are in the review comparing the 26 and the 42. I've heard an awful lot of comparisons to the 26, but looking at your pictures, I can see it appears that the grip, was it a little bit thinner front to back? Was the grip on the 42 a little bit thinner?
Yeah.
It looks like it's a little thinner, and it actually looks like it's a little bit longer than the 26 grip. Is that accurate?
Yep, that's correct.
Awesome.
And actually, in Masad Ayub, he did a video on the 42, just kind of an initial recap and what his professional opinions are. He said that with the 380 cartridge being shorter in overall length than the 9mm, Glock was actually able to make that front to back of that grip shorter, which allows you to get your hand in there more, wrap your fingers around the grip more, and have better control over the recoil of the weapon, which that's a kind of by an engineering standpoint, something that needed to happen to a Glock firearm. So I'm glad they finally were able to make it happen, because some people they refer to the Glock as the brick just because they can't get their hands around the grip all the way. So this
Yeah.
is a good alternative to that, and I'm really looking forward to them working out all the kinks and maybe next year coming out with a 9 millimeter single stack version, which I know everybody is looking forward to because that was
Yeah.
the very first critique is why is this 380? Americans don't really like 380 all that much. Why isn't this 9 millimeter Luger? It's tried and true. Everyone likes it. Well, part of the reason is that grip dimension, having that shorter really makes a difference in getting a good purchase on that
Mhm.
frame. So
And I really feel like Glock was trying to reach out to the female market in the gun market because it's a huge growing market, and you hear it all the time. Every show you listen to, every magazine you read, they talk about all the women that are getting into firearms, and I think that they were trying to make a Glock that would really appeal to women shooters as well. I'm not saying that men won't buy it also, but you know what I mean. Just with
yeah.
a little thinner grip and a lighter round and a smaller size, it can be more easily concealed for females than maybe a 26 or 23 or whatever.
hmm Yeah. And I was my first reaction when you said made a gun specifically for the female market. I'm like, but it's not pink.
But
But
I can paint it pink for you.
yeah, yeah. If you're looking for the next gift to get your significant other, find a Glock 42 and have Daniel here Cerakote the frame in pink or purple. That'd be pretty cool. So that's my review. Again, I'd love to hear other people's feedback and their experiences with the Glock 42. I don't want to hear people that haven't even touched it, let alone seen it. What they think, what their initial opinions on. It's something you really have to experience. You can only judge a book by its cover so often, and there's so many armchair commando experts out there, making, proclaiming about this pistol, and you really have to shoot it and be able to experience whether it's working for you or not. So that concludes the main panel discussion for the reviews. I'm going to get right into the tech gadget or app section, and I found a app for iPhone users. I apologize, Android and Windows Phone users. This app is not available yet for you. It's called the CCW Guardian app, and what it is it's an app that lets you do multiple things. Lets you log your weapons for recording purposes. So round count, serial number, notes of when you got it, notes of when you're doing maintenance. You can be as detailed or as kind of brief as you want. It's got a lot of training regiment integration. So you can see right off on the home page, there's kind of like a dashboard. So it says training focus. So I haven't done any training with it so far, but it actually does like a percentage of how much training you got in yet. So there's draw, stroke, and presentation, trigger control, concealed draw, proper grip, one hand firing, front sight focus, stoppage/reloading drills, target ID, discrimination, defensive shooting, IDPA, IPSC drills, other designated drills, and then custom other drills. So this thing has lots of training resources built right into it. I was actually really surprised. It does function off of a single login. So of course, if you're entering sensitive information about your gun and its serial number, obviously you don't want that to be available for anyone that steals your phone. You actually write when you download the app, you set up a username and a password, so that way nobody can just get into this and see what all your serial numbers for your guns are. So it updates, when you drag down on the dashboard. What's really cool from a web designer standpoint is when you drag up from the bottom, this revolver cylinder menu pops up and it rotates. This is really cool. I wish I can get my website to do this. That is awesome. Um, so on that cylinder menu, you have couple different options. There's the add a handgun, where you can just add your guns, and you can take photos of your guns. The only issue I found is that when you add a handgun, you enter in the make and model, and it kind of has some automatically built in for you. So AMT, Beretta, Browning, Charter Arms, Colt, F&H, Glock, Heckler Koch, Carr, Keltec, Kimber, Para-Ordnance, Rossi, Ruger, STI, SIG, Smith & Wesson, Sphinx, Springfield, Steyr. I've never heard of this one. I might pronounce it wrong. Tang Folio, um, Taurus, Walter, and then other. So if you've got something that wasn't on that list, you can always hit other, like an EAA witness or something like that. The only issue is, like, if you wanted to enter in a caliber, it doesn't have all that many calibers. So, I mean, it's got 32 ACP, 380 ACP, 38 Special, 357 Magnum, 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, 10mm, 40 ACP, and 22 LR. So, I mean, like, if you're rocking a 357 SIG or, a 44 Special, 44 Magnum, you're going to have to just hit other and then manually enter in the caliber. So that's kind of a bummer that they need more manufacturers and all the caliber options. You can also have your permits loaded in here. So you can add your CCW permit and keep track of where you're legal to carry, and they'll even remind you when they need to be renewed. So that's really cool. If you have like your state concealed carry permit and a Utah carry permit, you can enter in your numbers for that and your expiration dates, and it'll remind you when you need to renew those, and that sneaks up on a lot of us. And so actually the training, there's Facebook integration as well, but I was surprised how in-depth all the training was. They have all the drills are in there, and the author actually went out of his way to create quite a list of just narratives of why you should train. The mindset of concealed carrying. There's a whole section on handgun safety. There's disassembly, reassembly videos. A little write-up on selecting a trainer's safe training, and then there's for instance, I'll hit the dry fire handgun drills. So there's quite a lengthy paragraph on what to do when you're doing dry fire drills and ensuring proper safety. Having a pen and paper handy to write down what skills that you want to accomplish and defining your goals. This is not just a developer trying to fit a niche market and just trying to make a quick app that just barely gives you what you want. This is an actual trainer who went to multiple sources and got some expert opinions in here. If you're a firearms instructor, you might want to download this app just to add some of this to your curriculum, because it's really thorough.
Hey,
So just what's that?
I had a question for you. I noticed it said something about shot count or round count. Does it have an automatic detector to count your shots, or do
No,
you have to fill them in manually?
you have to fill that in manually. So, I mean, that'd be kind of interesting if you could turn it on like standby mode, like shot timer mode.
Mm-hmm.
That would, I think this is a little bit more geared to just concealed carry training, and not like, I think having a shot timer and a round count more for like competitive, like high round count use. I mean, for the most part, you're gonna be, my Glock 19 has 500 rounds through it, and I've dry fired it this many hours, that kind of thing. But really thorough stuff that come with this app. You do need an internet connection in order for it to verify your account. So that's something you're gonna that might be an issue to you. I don't know whether you can enter that in and then have your phone go on standby, put it in your pocket, and then when you're out at the range with no internet connection or no data, if you can still pull this up. I haven't tested that out yet. But they've got their team. Um, their mission is to the mission and purpose is to assist CCW permit carriers to be better prepared and better protected through the world-class training and documentation applications. And that's from David C. Reed, and he's kind of the author behind all this. So it's much more than just boilerplate concealed carry stuff. This is actually really in depth, and I think it was free. Yeah, so I think I would recommend everyone with an iPhone check this app out. If you feel that it's too much, too in depth, or not exactly what you're looking for, at least you didn't invest any money into it. But there's a lot of like their Q&A stuff. How does recording my training and practice with this app protect me? And so, he's got a whole, 3 or 4 paragraph answer of, um, having documentation and records to support your testimony of training with a firearm. So if you ever used your CCW permit and use it in self-defense, and now you have to go to court and defend yourself, and have the tools to prove that you've gone through training. All that stuff's in here. So
It sounds like this guy is really passionate about what he's done and what he's come up with. So, that's the kind of stuff I like to see is people that are developing products not just to make money or just to make a new neat product. It's somebody who really cares about what they're doing. And so that's important right there, that this guy has the passion and he's got the knowledge and know-how. And so I'm going to have to give this app a try. And you said if it seems too in depth, it sounds like it's pretty customizable. You can make it as in depth as you want to. So
yeah, there's even a log where you can, um, their interface and like the little descriptions are really friendly. I mean, it says, add your first log. We know data entry is not fun, so we made it easy with features like automatically grabbing the current weather conditions. We recommend keeping track of every firing session. So there's a range log in here, and it does all the boiler stuff that you'd want, but there's custom options available. Where it brings in your location and the weather. You can choose your target type. I believe you can see if I hit other, if it'll let me. It won't let you take a picture of your target, but there's NRA, B27, IDPA, IPSC targets kind of automatically loaded in here. So you can hit, select your handgun that you've already pre-saved in there, your ammo type, your training focus. So all those things I listed earlier as far as the drills that you're trying to focus on. Your rounds fired. There's even if you want to type in the name of your observer, the training date, the training time, and then there's added notes, and there is an add photo section, so you can take photos with your phone of your target or conditions, or say like your Glock 42 stovepiped and you want to take a picture of it. You can use that app to do this as well. I definitely recommend it wholeheartedly for you to at least give it a shot. It's a really easy to use app. It might be a little bit too in depth for you depending on how tech savvy you are. For someone like me who's part web designer, really strong into the firearm industry and concealed carry, and integrating tech into my range time, this is an actual tool I'm going to use. And there's not many out there that after trying it I keep using, so I definitely recommend this for everybody. So I put the link in the show notes. If you go to the iTunes or just the Apple app marketplace, just search for CCW Guardian and you'll find it. They've got some really cool videos as well on their website. In our show notes here on this show, we've put in a video that goes right to like a short clip of the app and what its strengths. So I definitely would recommend this to everybody.
And hey guys, if you get this app and you try it out, send us some feedback on it, on what you think, so that we can broadcast that out to the rest of the listeners and maybe help this product go along, or say, hey, it's no good. We'll see what happens.
Yep, absolutely. So let's get right into some listener feedback. We got three new reviews. Last time I checked on iTunes. So Shooting Blind said, "Good job, Ryan. Ryan does a great job hosting the show, and I love all the reviews and product spotlights. Thanks for that." Another review says, "Excellent product reviews, highly informative." So thanks for that as well. You guys that have emailed me and told me about what product giveaway you'd like from RaidTech, I appreciate that. Continue leaving reviews and sending me emails. I appreciate all the feedback, and I'm doing as good of a job as I can at improving this podcast every little bit each week. So I do it for you guys, and I appreciate the feedback for sure. So in closing, I want to make sure you guys listen to other podcasts on the Firearms Radio Network. Go to www.ar15podcast.com and listen to AR15 Podcast if you haven't already. Reed Snyder and some JW Ramp, and they have guests on there too. Everything you want to hear about AR-15s, the newest stuff that's out there, trying on different components. I mean, you can never, I can never stop hearing about AR-15. I mean, I know the market's saturated, and that everyone these days, has an AR-15 build, but I just can't stop hearing about it. It's good stuff, and Reed does a really good job. So make sure you go over to his website and give that podcast a listen. You can also go to firearmsradio.tv/iTunes and listen to the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network. Send questions or comments to podcast@firearmsinsider.tv or myself at cross@firearmsradio.tv. And remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. And be sure to check out the Firearms Insider website for reviews, SHOT Show stuff if you missed that, NRA show stuff, coverage if you haven't seen that as well. And also be sure to go over to our Facebook page for the Firearms Insider and give us a like. Make sure to follow on all the latest product news and just general firearms industry information that's coming out. So thanks again for joining me, Daniel.
Oh, you bet, man. My pleasure.
Yeah. And I kind of wish I got to try one of those AUG clones now that I saw yours.
Well, maybe we can hook up someday and you can shoot it.
I'd love to. I gotta travel out there. There's too many good folk out there.
Well, you have some family out here somewhere, don't you?
Yeah, my sister's in Missouri, so that's a good reason to head over there. But I mean, I gotta hit up Illinois. There's a lot of guys I gotta shake hands with in Illinois, so.
Well, you let me know when you're coming through. We'll figure something out.
I sure will. So as always, shoot safe. Have a great week. Enjoy the weather that's been improving, and I'll catch you on the next episode.